Hey, y'all, this is Dallas Moore, and you're listening to the Rock Paper Podcast. Tune it in and turn it up.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Dallas Moore.
Hey, man.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, buddy. How y'all doing out there?
I'm doing all right, all things considered. It's like currently in St. Louis, it's like 0 or sub-zero temperatures. We got like 6 inches of snow coming today. It's pretty brutal right now, but
I'm here at my Texas Ohio ranch, which is in Blue Jay, Ohio, out west of Cincinnati, on the border of Indiana and Kentucky, where the 3 states come together is where I'm at right now. And we're since about midnight last night, it's been coming down. They're saying we're going to get between 10 and 17 inches by tomorrow.
Right.
We're not actually as cold as y'all. But it's pretty chilly.
Yeah.
But we're having a snow day for sure. Snow and ice.
Yeah. So I would thought this would be worked out pretty well, that we both were kind of snowed indoors, and it'd be a good opportunity to get some business done over Zoom here.
Worked out good.
Yeah. But man, I've been looking forward to this. Actually, I'll be first to admit I didn't know anything about Dallas Moore prior to my buddy Brad Jackson kind of putting us in contact together, and I'm really glad he did, because so I don't really. Doing the show, like I've really been so centered on St. Louis music for the better part of 7-8 years, whatever, or more. I've been doing the show about 7 years now, but so there's all sorts of acts that totally miss until now,
right.
But I once Brad told me about you, and we made this happen, put on the calendar.
Yeah, and we haven't traditionally we haven't made too many stops, in St. Louis. Here recently, we started playing in Peevely, which is just south there at Gene's Country Club, and that's just a really cool honky tonk and with a lot of history. And I was turned on to that by my friend Dustin James Clark, who's out there, and he's a great friend of mine. And we met when we were playing Tumbleweed together a few years ago, and struck our friendship. And he said, "Hey, if you ever get around the St. Louis area, I got a place for us to do a show together." And so we played Gene's, I think, twice now, and I hope to get another one in sometime this year.
Yeah, very cool. But yeah, so I did a deep dive on your catalog available out there online, and I was really enjoying it, man. I just I don't know how I missed it prior to now, because it's right up my alley with this kind of outlaw country kind of feel to some of the stuff, and it was a lot of fun, man. So I'm really glad that we were introduced. So like I said,
man.
But so you got you said you were at home in Ohio there. Is that
I split my time between Southwest Ohio and Universal City, Texas, which is basically San Antonio. Yeah. And I split my time between the two. And I even wrote a song about it. It was on the Mr. Honky Tonk album called Texas Ohio. Yeah. Because I'm always splitting my time between one and two. But I'm originally from Norwood, Ohio, which is part of right in Cincinnati. And right now, the place we live in is about half hour west of Cincinnati. And me and my wife and daughter got a little place out here in the country, and it's called Blue Jay, out in these little hills out here.
Yeah, man. So when did not to go all the way back, but when did you find that country music's like, this is something I can do. Like, this is
Well, I got my first guitar when I was 16 years old. Up until that point, I had never, played music other than when I was 6 years old. I did a couple Elvis Presley songs at my sister's wedding.
yeah.
when I was a little boy, I was Elvis. You couldn't tell me no different. But I sang Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock at my sister's wedding when I was 6 years old. And other than playing and listening to music, that was my only thing. I always played sports. I played baseball and football, and I boxed. And but then when I was 16, my mom, Mama Majali, she got me my first guitar when I was 16 years old, and I overnight quit my sports career, and that's all I ever did was play guitar from that point on. But I graduated when I was 17, and I got a classical and jazz guitar scholarship to Northern Kentucky University, and so I was going to school there, and I would be playing in the big band jazz and in the classical solo and guitar quartet, and playing Bach and Beethoven and stuff in the day, as well as all the jazz standards, and I was playing all the honky tonks in Northern Kentucky and Southern Ohio at night, because I love all kinds of music, man. And I started connecting the dots when I was playing like the big band jazz stuff. I realized how much it had in common with Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, and then Willie Nelson was always one of my favorite guitarists, and I realized that his guitar influence came directly from Django Reinhardt, and so I went down the whole rabbit hole of connecting the dots between all the different styles. And then my mama Majali, she played Appalachian, bluegrass, and gospel music all her life. She played dulcimer and clawhammer style banjo and guitar. She had been on the Midwestern Hayride back in the early 1950s with a group called the Buckeye Bells, and I still have their 78 records that they recorded. And she had a couple hits back in 1951 and 52, and then she got out of it. Started her beauty salon that she had right up until she passed away at 81 years of age, and that would have been 3 years ago this coming March. But so that's how I got into music. Was her getting me that guitar when I was 16, and I made my first album was called My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys, and it's been out of print so long. I think it came out in 1994, and I did that was my introduction to Brian DeBruler, who is the president of Soul Records and my partner in our little indie label, and we've just been knocking it out ever since. And through all the records we did over the years, we always self-produced everything up until the Mr. Honky Tonk album came out. And that was my first time working with Dean Miller, who's, of course, the son of Roger Miller and the king of the road. So yeah. Dean always says that makes him the prince of the road, But Dean contacted me. It was right after we won Outlaw Group of the Year at the Ameripolitan Music Awards with Dale Watson down in Austin, Texas. And right at 2 days after that, Dean got a hold of me. And the way the story goes, I heard Billy Joe Shaver, who was a hero and friend of mine, was in a conversation with Dean. Dean was looking for, he's working with Billy Joe on some stuff. And Dean was looking for people to produce, and my name came up, and next thing I know, he contacted me, and we did the Mr. Honky Tonk album, and it went very well for us, and really upped our game on everything. And because he's a lot better producer than I was. But so then from there we made the Trying to Be a Blessing album, and then now we did The Rain, which is our current one that's getting ready to come out. So it's become our third time, and our friendship and our working relationship has just grown over the course of these three albums, and they were just done consecutive years, it's just been a great thing for us, and it's allowed my music to grow a lot, and my writing, I feel like it, with each thing, we've really just gotten better continue to learn and grow and develop. Never too old for that.
Yeah, man. Well, a couple of things in there. R.I.P. to Billy Joe Shaver for sure, man. He was a big fan of his stuff, and got to see him at a couple. Actually, went to Farm Aid in Kansas City several years back, and got to see him up there with Willie and everybody. And so I'm thankful that I was able to see the man live before he passed and everything. So
I think the first time I met Billy Joe, we opened for him at the Southgate House in Newport, Kentucky, and that would have probably been around 1998 or 98 or 99, something like that. And we just remained friends. Sometimes we'd go a year or two, never see each other, and then boom, we'd get on a run of shows together, and sometimes last few shows we did together, my wife would help Billy Joe sell his merch, and I've been very blessed over the years that it's a pretty cool thing when your heroes become your friends, and I've been very blessed in that over the years, and Billy Joe was definitely right up there at the top.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's really a neat thing, for sure. Like you're saying, like when you meet these people that you're heroes, like you're saying, and then, well, I don't know. I've been fortunate enough myself here locally, some people that I really admire and I look up to as a kid, and now like some of my closest friends, and it's you don't take that for granted. It's really a cool thing to have those people in your life like that, and like that. It just somehow it's like you got to kind of pinch yourself sometimes. You're like, how did this happen? How did I wind up here? Like,
right. Yeah.
So, but it's really cool. But you mentioned The Rain, which will be due out April 9th. And we're going to allow us a little sneak peek. Obviously, the title track, The Rain, is currently available everywhere digitally music set, and that released at the end of January. What would you anything around The Rain come to mind, the story behind this song?
Well, I was actually sitting in my little music room here at the house, and I was probably, like I say, when I wrote all the songs for The Rain, I wrote everything which is within like a 3.5 week time period while we were shut down. I wrote the first song. It was called Better Days. And I wrote that on, I can tell you the exact date. It was March 18th, because that was the first night that we got shut down. 2020 would have been the 10th year in a row that we would have logged over 300 shows a year. And we were chugging along just right that. And March 18th, we're supposed to be playing in Austin, Texas at the Little Longhorn Saloon. And that was the first night we got shut down. And I went to our, back home to our honky tonk hacienda in Universal City, Texas, and we were just trying to sort out what exactly was going on, because our world, all of us, just like everybody's at that time, came to a screeching halt, and so we were hanging out and trying to solve the problems of the world over a couple cases of Lone Star beer and a handle of fine Kentucky bourbon, and it was my turn to go get the drinks for the guys, and the song Better Days just popped into my head. I hadn't written a song in 2 years up to that point, and I had no intentions of making a new record that quickly on the heels of trying to be a lesson. But the whole song just popped out of my head, and I sat down and I wrote the song in just one, stream of thought, and it's a pretty short song, so it didn't take me long. So anyways, fast forward. We come back, and over the next 3.5 weeks, I wrote the whole album. And getting to the song "The Rain," I was sitting right where I'm sitting right now, talking to you, and it was early April, and just blue skies and sunny, 79 degrees, beautiful day. I'd been out for a ride on my old Harley Davidson Road King earlier in the day. And all of a sudden, the skies turned black like they will in April, and that thunder cracked, and the lightning started scorching across the sky, and the whole song just kind of wrote itself. I was actually up here noodling around with the guitar on a totally different song idea that actually never ended up working out, because I think the rain just kind of came in and took it over, and I came out with the opening, lyrics and the opening chord, and the whole song just kind of wrote itself right there on the spot. And then that's the way most everything from this record did. It just came together real organically and natural. And it wasn't ever a situation that I was sitting there trying to fight to get the songs. So they just kind of magically appeared. So I got lucky.
The skies opened up and the rain came down and the lightning struck, and I heard the sound of that holy rolling thunder, rock and roll. It came all night till I damn near drowned, so I swam on up for higher ground, and I swear that high black water saved my soul. Far away from here and live that life we live out in our dreams. Maybe we can take our turn in the bright lights without getting burned, and find out just exactly what that means. Midnight brought the moon and stars, and there ain't no telling just how far we could ride this ride and follow it on down. Maybe I'm a simple man, but crash and burn ain't in my plan, so we can love all night and live to fight another round. So take me as I am, my dear, and I'll take you far away from here and live that life we live out in our dreams. Maybe we can take our turn in the bright lights without getting burned, and find out just exactly what that means. The skies opened up and the rain came down and the lightning struck, and I heard the sound of that holy rolling thunder, rock and roll. It came all night till I damn near drowned, so I swam on up for higher ground, and I swear that high black water saved my soul. And I swear that high black water saved my soul. And I swear that high black water saved my soul.
Yeah, man, it's another just classic feel good, the honky tonkin,
Yeah.
it's all these songs are, I mean, obviously they're all a lot of fun, but yeah, just when I first listened to The Rain though, I was like, man, it just feels like you already know the song sometimes, it's like those,
Yeah.
it's a classic feel to it all. So that was a fun one to turn up, and but
We got a great take on it in the studio, and it was a first take. There was no overdubs or anything. We had the band in the studio, and we had Janae Fleener, who is the reigning 2-time CMA Instrumentalist of the Year. She played those great fiddle parts on it, and Steve Henson on the pedal steel, and Guthrie Trapp on guitar, along with Lucky Chuck Morpurgo, who's been my guitarist for 26 years now.
Nice.
So they all came together, and Gordon Mote on the piano, and Chad Cromwell on drums. And it was just a great lineup. And And the whole album, everything we did in the studio, we recorded 11 songs in one 4.5 hour session. And so everything on it was either a first or second take. And I came in and sang the whole album the next day, and we were done with it, you know?
Yeah.
And by doing it that way, we were able to really capture the live feel of what I'm all about. You know, I'm like I say, all I do is, you know, I go and play live shows, you know,
Right.
That's all I've ever done. And so always, you know, in the studio and stuff, trying to capture that is what has always throughout my career been our biggest setback. And I really feel like with each album that we've been doing, we've gotten closer and closer to it. And I think we got it pretty dialed in. I mean, it's about as live and raw as you can get with, you know, great players, and I'm really happy with it, you know?
Yeah. It's a weird thing trying to like capture that magic. I mean, there's all sorts of stories you hear about the bands that like, oh, you got to see them live because it's nothing like their records. And then like,
right.
And bands trying to get their records to sound like their live show. And like, and you know, so it's like, and then sometimes, but even that, like whenever I go see a live show, I don't ever want people to sound just like the record either too. You know, it's like, you want it to sound something you remember, but like,
I think a lot of it is capturing the energy, you know,
sure.
And transposing that, you know, from, you know, the live, your adrenaline's running and you're interacting with the crowd and everything. Right. And then all of a sudden you're in a little booth by yourself, you know, and sometimes it's hard to conjure that up. And, but we've gotten better at it over time. And I think this is the best one yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear the rest of it, for sure, man. Like I said, I've been really enjoying everything I've heard so far from you and the band. So, but I guess we do have a live date. A couple of them are coming up on the calendar. Speaking of that live show, and you can catch Dallas and the band in Kansas City, Missouri, on February 20th over at one of my favorite spots, Knuckleheads.
Yeah.
So come on out and see the guys.
And that's gonna be the second date of this next run that we're heading out on. And these are all acoustic duo dates with me and Lucky Chuck.
All right.
Which is most of what we're doing at this time. We are able to travel and work, and we've been doing it, you know, very steady. You know, we were shut down in 2020 for over 3 months, and we couldn't play anywhere.
Right.
Like just about everybody. But since that time, I think we were only able to play at just a small handful of full band shows that were already on the books that didn't cancel for 2020. And then we played 3 full band shows this year back in Texas. And that was last month. We played Green Hall and the Rattlesnake Ballroom, and then we played at the Riverwalk down in San Antonio. But most of everything we're doing right now is playing acoustic shows, because although we are able to get out and play, almost everywhere that we're playing is still in some form of restrictions, and they have very limited capacities on stuff. There's sometimes we'll be playing a venue that maybe a 500 or 1,000 seat venue that they can only sell 50 or 75 or maybe 100 tickets, and everything is so spaced out. But that's the way everything's kind of operating right now, and just about every state that we go to. There are starting to be some things starting to open up a little bit more, and we are getting some. We do have a few more full band dates coming up on the books, but you know, since we got started back in June of 2020, the majority of it's been these acoustic shows, and that's great too, because we're like what you were just talking about transposing between the record and the live show. With our acoustic shows, you know, you're hearing the songs like how I wrote them and stuff, but in a live setting where it's got that energy. And so we're bringing the energy that we captured on the album, and me and old Lucky Chucky are just banging it out. And it's been really fun. And it's really letting the people connect, you know, with the songs. 'Cause, you know, it's right up there raw and in your face. You can hear the words.
Yeah. I mean, I love, you know, again, I'm big on full band and stuff, but just like you're saying, I here locally in St. Louis area, I prior to March of 2020, I was doing this songwriter night, kind of, I'm doing my own version of Bluebird or, anything else, like kind of writers sitting on stools telling their stories. And I just love those nights so much, like hearing the songs and the stories, and like really diving into those lyrics, and it's a really like cool, intimate way to bring the people into these songs and stuff. And
right. Yeah,
so
definitely.
I bet that's going to be a fun night up there.
This Saturday at Knuckleheads. And then actually Friday, we're in Indianapolis at the Checkered Flag. And then we go Saturday to Knuckleheads, and Sunday to the Mercury Lounge in Tulsa. So, and then from there, I think we go to Oklahoma City, and then like 9 or 10 nights back in Texas. So I'm pretty sure all our dates are at dallasmoore.com.
Right on. Yeah. Get plugged in on the website, and then Facebook and Instagram and everything, and follow along. So I'm guessing is the set list a good mixture of some oldies and the new record, or you?
I play we're playing the entire record, all 10 songs, and then I play new stuff, old stuff, and in betweeners too.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think about too. You were saying as you were writing The Rain, that this, like you said, you didn't write for like 2 years, and then
the last song I had written was a song called Everything But You, which was on the Trying to Be a Blessing album, which had just come out a few months before we got shut down. It came out in late 2019. And I wrote a song, Everything But You. That was the last tune that I had actually written. And by the time we got the album recorded and out, it had really been about 2 years since I've written anything. Songwriting's different, for everybody. I'm never been one to, if I sit down and say I'm going to write a song, I'll just fight it the whole way, and nothing good ever comes of it. I do most of my writing when I'm out riding my old Harley Davidson Road King or riding the tractor mowing grass. the melodies and lyrics come to me in my head, and if I can remember them when I get back done with the ride or the mowing, then I figure it's a keeper, and then I'll put the music to it when I get back in. One exception to that, or actually two exceptions that came on The Rain. I wrote all the songs by myself except for 2 of the songs I wrote with my friend Ted Russell Camp, and of course Ted's been playing bass for Shooter Jennings for many, many moons, but he's also a great producer and songwriter and solo artist in his own right. And we had done a show together at the Grand Ole Echo in 2019, and which is out in Los Angeles. And that's where Ted lives. And we've known each other for many years, but it wasn't until that night that we exchanged phone numbers, And I'm sitting here and messing around. This is when we were quarantined. We couldn't go anywhere. And he called me up and said, "Hey, man, I'm stuck out here in L.A. and you're stuck on the old Texas Ohio Ranch. Why don't we try to write couple songs together via the high-tech redneck magic of FaceTime?" And I said, "Well, Hoss, I'm a horrible co-writer, but I ain't doing nothing else. I can't go nowhere, so why the hell not?" And we knocked out 3 songs in an hour and a half. And two of the songs, California Highway and Ain't No Place in the Sun, made it onto The Rain. And we did something that I'd never done before, which was write and record a Christmas song called Honky Tonk Holidays, which we spelled D-A-Z-E Holidays.
Yeah, right.
But we wrote all 3 of those songs in an hour and a half, and it was just great, because normally that would not work for me at all. I'd be, I wouldn't be contributing anything,
Right.
But it just, we clicked, and the songs just kind of came together real quick, so it was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I actually listened to Holidays. That was a fun one, man. It's just fun to hear, like kind of a Christmassy songs like that are still fun to, dance around to and stuff. And like,
I was one, I've never ever in all these years even performed a Christmas song, right, other than, maybe singing to my daughter, but as far as live, I just, it was never my thing, and Brian DeBruler, who's the president of our record label, he's been on me forever. He's like, man, you got to do a Christmas song. Got to do a Christmas song. You only got to do it once, and you can bring it back every year.
Right.
And I just was like, no, man, I'm not doing that. and then hear the song, it just kind of, like I say, it felt like it wrote itself. It was so cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I got friends. They they're kind of this rock and roll group, and they wrote an original Christmas song for 2020, and it was titled like "I Want to Hate You, but It's Christmas," and it's like, so it was almost kind of like an anti-Christmas sign. Like it really, like it has nothing to do with Christmas, but they mentioned Christmas in the title, so they called it a Christmas song. And
there you go.
And so it was.
So you can bring it back every year, right?
Yeah, they said they were gonna, they're like look out, Mariah Carey, we're coming for you. Like we're. Yeah. You mentioned your bike and your Harley. Is that you just got the one motorcycle?
Yeah. Right now I have a 99 Harley Davidson Road King. Yeah. And I used to have a 2000 Harley Davidson Road King that was kind of made famous because it was mentioned in the song Raising Hell to Flame Gravel. But that bike met its untimely demise. It was involved in an accident that I was not involved in. I was actually on tour with the band, and I had my guy from the shop come to pick the bike up and take it in for a service. And I was pulling in. We were pulling into a lot. I'll never forget this. I was pulling into a lot to play the Gas Monkey garage in Dallas, Texas. And I get a message saying, call me ASAP. I owe you a motorcycle. And I'm like, I thought he was pranking me, Right. And because he was just taking in for, it was like an oil change and a new battery. He was just doing a regular maintenance. And but no, it turns out he was involved in a very serious accident. And his truck and trailer and my bike were destroyed. And but I was just glad he wasn't hurt, and he's a lifelong friend of mine, but so he offered me everything, whatever we could do to replace it, and we came across this. The closest thing to my 2000 was a 99 Road King that had like 0 miles on it. It was someone had just, I guess, kept it in a garage. Maybe one of the Hills orthodontists rode it up to bike night at the Quaker Steak and Lube or something like that. I don't know. Whoever had it didn't ride it because it was like showroom floor, brand new. But it had the ugliest paint job you ever seen in your life. So I had to spray it flat black and called her mine, and that's what I've been riding ever since.
Very nice. Yeah. You said Gas Monkey. I don't know if you ever watched their show, but there was a similar incident where I think it was a Mustang or something they had just fixed up, and it was just perfect, and they got hit at a light on a test run on it and totaled it out, and and I was just like, man, what are the odds of that kind of
Well, that particular night, Richard Rollins was at our show. There he had the whole front table and everything, and everybody was thinking that I was going to be freaking out. My bike was just destroyed, but I was just glad that my friend was okay.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I knew everything was going to, was going to be fine.
Right.
And there was two small pieces. One of them being the license plate were the only things salvageable on my old bike, and I have them on my new bike now.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat.
I was always kind of raised around bikes. I had always had mini bikes. I had a little Honda street bike that I used to ride around on, and but my dad, he was always we had Harley. He had his Harley, and then I don't remember years on it, but he ended up selling it, and then bought this big dog pit bull chopper, and got it all stretched out, and he's 6'9", so like he had he got these big 8-hanger handlebars up there and stuff. And, but anyway, it's a pretty slick bike he's got now, and it's so anyway, just motorcycles always
keep it in the wind, man.
Yeah. One of these days I'll get myself one and get out there on the road, but I just haven't had the money yet to do it. But it's definitely a goal. I mean, the whole culture around it, everything, just like it's just I enjoy the bikes themselves, but just like it's definitely kind of this outlaw rock and roll country, whatever. It's just like it's a way of life.
That's how we came up. We
right.
Our first gigs were all poker runs and motorcycle rallies, and then we grew that from everything regional in Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana until as time went on, we kept growing, within that scene. We played Sturgis 10 years in a row. We played Laconia, which is New Hampshire. That's the oldest motorcycle rally in America. We played that several times, and we would always do Daytona with David Allen Coe at the Iron Horse and Myrtle Beach, and we haven't, in the last few years, haven't hit as many as we were doing there for quite a while, but because our regular shows have kind of just taken precedence, and they've kind of took off on their own. Whereas when we play like the bike weeks, you'd go and you'd play the same place like 5 nights in a row or whatever. But still love to go back and play any of them anytime, we have a few coming up this year. There's a big one in right outside of Louisville, Kentucky, called Bullitt County Bike Fest. That's coming up this September, so I'm looking forward to doing that. We got a lot of friends in that area, and my harmonica player Mike Owens, he lives in Louisville, so there's a hometown connection for him there, and so looking forward to doing that. But yeah, the way the music and the, like you're saying, the culture and the lifestyle and everything, that's what I've always been. I've always been a guitar player and a biker.
Right,
so it's neither one's. I don't have to change clothes or nothing like that, or step into the phone booth and put my cape on or nothing like that. It just, I kind of, that's the two things I do: ride bikes and play guitar. Yeah,
for sure.
Songs.
When you mentioned your mother got you the guitar when you were a kid and stuff, but when do you find the knack to like writing these original songs? Where was I
wrote my first song the second day I had the guitar.
Yeah.
I learned G, C, and D, and I was off and running because it wasn't a very good song, but it was my first song, and I just right off the bat, I picked up the guitar very naturally. It just kind of came to me. I was lucky, I've been blessed with a good sense of rhythm. My right hand has always been, pretty much like you said, a metronome to it, and even before I knew what any of that was, it was just natural, So once I was able to learn the chords, it all came real easy to me. And the writing, I before I attempted to write a song, I always, as a kid, wrote little poems and I wrote several short stories when I was in high school and everything, and I always just enjoyed it. It was just making up. It was just like, shooting the shit, just like we're doing here, only writing it down, and so I've always liked that. And then when it came to, I can tell this story in a form of a song, and then you just keep trying to get better at it as you go along and kick the can a little further down the road.
Sure. Do you remember what that first song, what that was about?
It was called Wild Eyes.
Wild
Eyes, yeah. She had wild eyes and she was crazy.
Yeah.
That was the opening line. I was 16 years old.
Yeah. I figured that's probably where, that's probably one of the earliest inspirations. I would imagine were females, as like inspired, a lot of young guys want to pick up playing guitar in the first place and stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, writing songs about her too.
Yeah. I thought I was doing okay playing baseball, and then I got that guitar, and I was doing a little bit better.
Yeah, I was I was big into football and basketball through school. Especially being 6'4", 300 pounds, like
Right.
I was able to use my size to my advantage. And, but I was, thought for sure that was going to be my ticket out, it was going to be, that football was going to, get me to school or whatever and stuff. And I was going to go pro and all that. But, it's just, so it's an interesting thing when that one dream comes to an end and the other, like you said, yours happened to be the day you got that guitar, like you realize,
ruined my life.
Yeah.
My dad, Dallas Senior, he'd come from Kentucky and had moved up to Norwood, Ohio, to work in the factory. At that time, the old town had so many factories, and our GM was there, U.S. Playing Card. My dad, when he started working there, it was Alice Chalmers, and it ended up being Siemens. They're still there today, although most of the factories down there have, went out over the years. But, Dad, exactly what you said. You said, "Thought that was your ticket out." My dad was furious with me when I quit sports. I mean, because he was like, "You're going to be right down here working side by side with me. You're never going to get out of here," And then the music ended up taking off. And then he was, along with my mom, my biggest fan,
Right.
But at first he was pissed, because he was like, "You're throwing this all away." Cause I had, some pretty good stuff going on, with sports. And, but Dad was like, "You're throwing this all away," and play that guitar. And I was lucky. I made it work. I probably would have got my ass whooped.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. You talked about your mother. My mother passed in 2019. She had a brain tumor develop in June of 2019 and passed in December and from brain cancer. And it was awful, man. It was such a difficult thing, obviously, going through that with her. And but yeah, she was my biggest fan, man. Any of my songwriter shows I put on or whatever, she was always there, and a huge supporter of everything I did with this show and music and stuff. So
yeah, my mom and dad were married for 61 years, and they passed 6 weeks apart. And my dad, actually, my mom had terminal cancer, but she was expected to go first, but my dad ended up going first. And but my daughter had just been born, and so when my mom got her diagnosis, my daughter, Victory Lee Moore, she was only a few weeks old, and they told my mom at that time, "You got to get your affairs in order because you may have 2.5, 3 weeks tops." And my mom, being stubborn and being how Mama Maggie Lee was, she said, "Well, I've got a new grandbaby, and it's my first child, and she said, I got a new grandbaby, so you just see what's going to happen here." And she made it another almost just shy of 8 months, and so she got to see my little girl, and my dad did too, so that was great.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool, man. That, like my grandparents had a similar story like that. Like, terrible at like time, but they were again together, probably something like your parents, many years. And my grandmother passed, right around like Thanksgiving, I think it was. And then my grandfather passed on Valentine's Day. So we always thought that was, quite romantic that he, wanted to be with his sweetheart and stuff. So
right.
But it was I think,
and you got a song right there, man.
Yeah, right. I do find, like, I mean, I don't know, like I'm a huge fan, obviously, of songwriting and but like I've never been able to find that whatever it is to sit down and actually write, pen to paper and come up with for me, I listen to so much music. It's like when I sit down to write, it's just everybody else's lyrics start pouring out, and it's hard.
Yeah, right.
It's hard for me to shut that off and come up with my own ideas and stuff. But I do. It's like one of my biggest like bucket list type of goals is to write and have either have somebody else record it or whatever. But I'd love to get into songwriting and try to get better at that?
Man, just jump right in and do a big cannonball. That's the best way. Just go and just jump in and do it, man.
Yeah.
It ain't never too late. You just jump in there and just write whatever you can. Even if and don't throw it away. Even if you write something, you hit a roadblock, just keep it.
Yeah.
You know, you may come back to it years later, and it may be not right when you're writing it. But you know, years later, you may come up with the other missing piece, or someone else might have something big, and what you had stuffed away in that little notebook. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You know, just do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'd like to, I've got a bunch of friends, like, obviously doing the show and just, you know, but like if a lot of people that are down there actively, you know, in Nashville or wherever, trying to, you know, actually pitching songs and everything else, like that do this professionally. So, you know, I have a lot of friends that I can probably, you know, call on some favors to try to help me co-write something whenever time, but I don't know. Hopefully we'll make that happen.
That'd be good, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever, whatever Elvis had, I don't know that I have, that gene. And, you know, I don't know if it's tracked down that far in the family, but they do say we are related. I just don't know how far apart the separation is, but, I'm sure, you know, I always joke that I'm not close enough to get any of the money or anything. So it's like, but I'm sure we're some kind of distant cousins and of some sort.
Well, that's cool. That makes you royalty by proxy to the king.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. But, I don't know, just be kind of wild to think about it though. If I could get into, hopefully maybe one of these days, and I'll send you a copy whenever it happens, man. Like,
all right. Sounds good, buddy.
Well, let's, we kind of touched on it earlier, but, one of your next upcoming singles will be a song called Better Days. You said, this kind of, was the first one to kind of kick open the doors for the writing process, and it just all poured out after that. Yeah.
It did. Like I said, we were supposed to be playing in Austin that night, March 18th. And, that was the first night of the shutdown for us. And, went back to our place and, the Honky Tonk Hacienda in University City, Texas. And the song just kind of appeared out of thin air. I was going to get drinks for the guys, and, Big Mike Talley and Lucky Chucky. And I said, hang on a minute. And I sat down on the couch and just wrote the song. And I left them high and dry. They had to wait about 5 minutes for another round. I think they were parched, but I made good and got them their drinks. but I had to get my song first.
Yeah, man.
Some folks wear their tinfoil hats. Some folks don't know where it's at. Some folks think we're all just gonna die. Some folks, they just got the blues. Some folks won't turn off the news. Some happy folks just sit around and cry. I know there's a fork in the road. I don't know which way we'll go. I know we might see the end of days, but I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and I'll die with my boots on. And I'm proud of this family I've raised. Yeah, but I've seen better days. Some folks still keep holding on. Some folks drink their sorrows away. Some folks dream of yesterday. Some folks think it's gone away. Some folks think we'll see a brighter day. I know there's a fork in the road. I don't know which way we'll go. I know we might see the end of days, but I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and I'll die with my boots on. And I'm proud of this family I've raised. Yeah, but I've seen better days. I know there's a fork in the road.
And you said, so this will be available everywhere early March, you saying? So,
The Better Days will, yes. It's the Better Days of I'm going to be the third single. The Rain was first.
right.
Every Night I Burn Another Honky Tonk Down will be the second single, and then Better Days. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the release date for that as a single is, but I do know it's in March, mid-March.
Okay. And then, of course, the record, The Rain, available worldwide April 9th. And so check.
And they can pre-order it right now at dallasmoore.com. We have several pre-order packages where you can buy anything from a CD or a vinyl to T-shirts, all the way up to like house concerts, handwritten lyrics, the whole everything. And you save 30% off, and you would get anything through the pre-order well in advance of the April 9th date. So we'll be sending those out in early March. So if anybody's interested in pre-ordering, just go to dallasmoore.com and save a little money and get it a little quicker.
Yeah, those house concerts are super cool, man. I've been fortunate enough to to be a part of a couple here around town, and it's just a really unique experience to live music, and especially to see somebody that you're a super fan of, just to get there and hang out in somebody's living room or whatever. Sometimes there's like a potluck type of situation.
Yeah, we love it, man. And we do this. We always did them from time to time, and then with everything kind of restructuring as far as where you can and can't play, it's just really taking on a new life, because for a lot of people, that's the only way that for a long time there, that was the only way that they could see any live music, was to host a house concert. But the house concert scene had been around for quite a while, right. And we had done a bit of it, but I just loved doing them. We just did one. Our second one here, and for some people to become like family, just great people down in Dunn, North Carolina, and it was the last one we did, and that was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's so great, because you're like you say, a lot, everybody brings a dish. There's always some good food and drink, and you end up interacting with people that become very close friends, a lot of times lifelong friends with, and become like family, and it's really cool. It's so intimate and personal, and you get to know the people, and they get to know you, and it's a good thing, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't wait for it to get it back in full swing. Where I'm missing it terribly, missing going to shows and everything, but so it'll be nice when it's all back in full swing, and we get to see all of our buddies and stuff out there when properly.
Yeah.
But check out again. Get a pre-order in at dallasmoore.com. It's cool that you got vinyl too, man. I'm gonna have to get me one of those. I'm a big vinyl enthusiast myself, so I like to try to collect as much as I can, especially like, it seems like a lot of my friends that are, not everybody, but a lot of them are putting out records on vinyl now, like, and that's, keeping that alive. Yeah.
We used to only do CDs and, digital download stuff, MP3s back in the day. And then Mr. Honky Tonk was the first album that we did vinyl, and then so now we do it on everything.
Yeah.
The Trying to Be a Blessing album was the first time that our vinyl outsold CD. Like we sold a lot of them, but it was the first time that the balance had switched.
Well, I think like even I think that's across the board too. I think like statistics are showing like more vinyl sales were higher than finally it's like, I believe it.
That's what we're finding.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people are kind of coming around on vinyl, especially because like you're saying, like a lot of times like it already includes the digital download in it, and it's like, and a lot of people quit buying. Obviously, it's been talked about a bunch, but like a lot of people quit buying CDs because new cars don't even have CD players in them, or laptops don't even have CD drives in them, and different things. So, but I really enjoy the whole process, the active listening process of like, putting on a record and having
Yeah.
having the artwork and the liner notes and all that. And
See, I grew up as a kid collecting vinyls, and I still have over 2,000 vinyls in my collection. I've toted around everywhere that we've ever lived, big crates of vinyl,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole different experience, that you don't get with a download,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I love holding it in your hand and reading the liner notes and all that stuff,
Yeah, man. You shared some things on social media around the rain, and like it's cool to see like you're charting on some various charts, and you're up there with some of the greats, of course. So Willie,
yeah, this week on the alternative country radio chart, which is a newer chart. It only came out like a year or two ago, but we hit it. We've only been at radio at radio with the song "The Rain" for 3 weeks, and we debuted week before last at number 10, and this week, when I say this week, I mean last week, because the chart comes out on Wednesday.
right.
But we hit number 2, and that's Sturgill Simpson had the top spot, and Steve Earle had number 3, so we was in pretty good company,
Yeah, man.
That was the highest that we've ever hit on that chart. And then on the Americana Music Association chart, they listed as what they call bubbling up, and it was us and Willie Nelson were right there together. And what that means was that it was predicted to enter the top 40 within the next coming weeks and stuff. And we're way out in front of it for those charts and at radio, and we're just real. Because the album don't come out, like say, till April 9th. So it feels good to be getting a little head start on it this time. Sometimes we've been a little too late and missed the mark on stuff. But everything kind of really came together good with us. And we're just working it ourselves and glad to see it getting some traction,
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully something happens for that new guy, Willie Nelson, bubbling up. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, see, Willie Nelson's guitar player for many, many years was Jody Payne, and Jody was my godfather. And I used to tour with Willie quite a bit.
Nice.
But the last album that Jody played on after he had retired from Willie before he passed away was my live album called Hank to Thank, which was recorded at Herzog Studios here in Cincinnati on the 61st anniversary of when Hank Williams had recorded at Herzog. And ironically, that's where the same studio where my mom had recorded in the early 50s as well. And they were turning it into the space into, because it hasn't been a studio for many, many years. It's just been an empty space, and the Cincinnati USA Music Heritage Foundation took it over, and they're all about preserving the history of. A lot of people have no idea that so much music was made in Cincinnati that Hank Williams recorded 6 of his biggest songs at Herzog Studio. Foggy Mountain Breakdown was recorded at Herzog Studio. James Brown, all that stuff was done here in Cincinnati, and so until that organization came along, most people had no idea, of that. So when they were kicking off the rededication of the space as Herzog Studio, and it's serves as a museum and live performance venue, we were the first to do it, and we recorded a live album called Hank to Thank in there. And I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry was one of the songs that Hank recorded there at 60. And so 61 years to the day, Jody Payne came up because he graduated from the same high school that me and my mom did, Norwood High School in Norwood, Ohio. But he was retired living in Stapleton, Alabama. He came up, and the last album he played was that live album. And he was a senior when my mom was a junior. And me and my mom and Jody stood in the same spot 61 years to the day and recorded I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry in front of a live audience. And then that was the last album that Jody played on. But tying into what you were saying about Willie, that new guy, Willie Nelson, they made a video for one of the songs called Crazy Again. And there used to be a video channel called Y'all Wire, and they were having these. It was up for like best new artist video of the year, or whatever, and we actually won it. And Jody was cracking up about it because he's like, "Well, I'll be damned! All them years with Willie, and I won my first best new artist." It was best new artist video, I think, was what it actually was. But Jody just got the biggest kick out of that. But that was the last record he played on before he passed away.
Yeah, very cool, man. I love that stuff, man. I love the especially the, like, you and like you have this personal connection to it, obviously with your mother and everything else. But just like it's really, really cool that it all comes full circle like that, man.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I was I don't know. I just think it's that stuff's funny to me. Like these, guys that have been doing it forever and stuff. I mean, obviously, like you look at like a new one, like Chris Stapleton or something like that. Like everybody, like he kind of blew up, and now but he's been doing it for a long time before Nashville knew who he was and stuff or whatever. But I just turned 50 years old on August 7th of 2020, and this is all I've been doing since I was 16. Right.
But at the same time, just like you and I are just meeting, there's a whole lot of people that I ain't met yet.
Yeah, man.
It's like somebody said, "Man, everything's really blowing up, man. It's like you're an overnight success." I said, "Man, it's been a long night."
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the truth, man. Everybody, I mean, like you're saying, you 300 shows a year and everything else. People put in a lot of work before it become an overnight success, So,
it's the biggest thing I love to do, and if I didn't love it that much, I'd be doing something else.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what that would be because I've never really done anything else. I ain't too old to play the guitar, but I'm probably too old for that baseball or boxing career.
Right.
But
do you ever think about?
I truly love it. I love everything about it. I love the whole lifestyle. I love driving down the road.
Right.
And we keep the roads hot, man. That's what we do. But it's all part of it, man. And it ain't for everybody. And again, just like with songwriting, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's different for everybody. And I just kind of stay in my lane and do what works for me, and go like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Do you have like when you're out there on the road, do you have your like favorite spots you like to hit for food wise or?
Definitely. Yeah, we definitely do. And of course it's different with everywhere you go, of course I'm a huge fan of Texas barbecue and we're very good friends with my pal Eric Linderman, and we always make sure we hit up Black's Barbecue and San Marcos and New Braunfels there and everything. Love that. There's a Brazilian steakhouse in San Antonio called Chama Gaucha that I always said it would be like PETA's worst nightmare because it's all of the meats on a flaming sword. These Brazilian cowboys called gauchos, they bring it out to your table and it's like every kind of steak and lamb chops and pork and just everything. But if you're eating keto, it's all good for you. It's all the meats. But I love that place. And a week ago, before we came back to Snowhio and this blizzard, I'm looking out my window right now and it's coming down like crazy. But a week ago, we were at one of my favorite spots, the Floribama, which is in Perdido Key, Florida. And I get a lot of seafood and stuff down there. And two things as far as food that I love about traveling the way we do is chili and barbecue are different everywhere you go.
Right.
And each region has their thing, and I like to try all of them.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite parts for sure. I like or pizza. I like trying different pizza in different towns and see what they do differently.
Right. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Man, you said pizza and talking about food. Like I can't leave out this spot. There's a place we play, and when we play in Sunset Beach, California, and it's called Sunset Pizza and Pasta, and they have the best damn puttanesca that I've ever had in my life, and it's so good that I refuse to eat it anywhere else, and I only wait. And it's kind of stinks right now because we can't go back out there; they're still shut down. All of our stuff, we were supposed to be there 3 times in 2020 and they all got canceled, but hopefully they'll get back opened up because I'm jonesing for it now. Now it's been a year and a half since I've had it, but
right.
I wait and I will not order this dish anywhere except for there. But it's just dynamite, man. And they make it extra spicy for me, you know.
Yeah.
I've been here recently getting into a lot of extra hot and spicy pho, and actually found a place here in Cincinnati called Wild Ginger, and they've got the one that's the hottest. They make it special for me. Their heat level goes to 10, and I make this one a 15. Jeez. And the little guys they always come around and they peek around and they watch me eat it. Because that's another thing. I'm like a hot food and hot sauce like enthusiast, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are a few places that I like a lot.
You ever check out that show, The Hot Ones, where they doing the different hot wing sauces and stuff?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's I guess it's like I think it started on YouTube and then became developed into a series online or on Network FX, I think, or whatever. But that's like the premise of the show is they'll have like all these different hot sauces, like, I don't know, whatever, 10 different sauces, and they go up hotter and hotter as he's going. And at the same time, he's asking questions. And so it's like an interview while they're using the hot wings. And
okay.
So it's pretty entertaining. But like, especially as they get hotter, they're starting to, sweat it out and everything. And
definitely.
But there's some really good ones. Like, and he has some interesting guests. Like most recently, when I don't watch a lot of them, but like I did watch. He had the Undertaker on. And it was just it's cool too because I don't know how much you got into that at all or wrestling, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't do interviews because he stayed in character the whole time. So now it's cool that now he's retired. He's doing an interview, and he's getting to talk about all this stuff. And so I found that one really cool.
Oh man, I was a huge wrestling fan growing up, and everything. One of the coolest things I got to do was we've always had a lot of support at Sirius XM's satellite radio, the Outlaw Country Channel, and I got to be a guest on the Hillbillies Gym show, and we just hit it off like we've known each other like forever. He was putting us in chokeholds and everything, and it was just so cool. And he was like, the era when I was growing up was before everything came under WWE. It was back when everything was territorial. You had WWF, AWA, and an NWA, which was broken up into like Mid-Atlantic, Georgia, Florida, and then you had Texas over here. And it was all, but we were talking about all the old stuff, like Ric Flair when he was in his ultimate prime, and Tommy Wildfire Rich, and all the old Austin Island. Of course, the Gym came up through all of that before everything blew up to where wrestling got so big, not like it is now. But man, when I was a kid, man, I remember seeing Dusty Rhodes and Tommy Wildfire Rich against Ivan Koloff and Hacksaw Buzz Sawyer in a barbed wire fence match, and I had front row seats because my buddy's uncle was the manager of the Cincinnati Gardens, and that's where they used to have the wrestling matches at. And but they really strung up barbed wire, and they're whipping each other into the barbed wire. And we're little kids, so wow, man, look at that. But yeah, it was a great time to be a kid and watching all that stuff. I
had Cowboy Bob Orton's son on here a while back, Nathan Orton. He does, and of course his brother's Randy. But I didn't really get into wrestling with him. I wanted to talk more about him and his comedy, but like I still found it interesting that his whole family lineage of into this wrestling world and stuff. And so it was kind of I didn't want to turn the interview about wrestling because he gets it everywhere else. But But it was fun, man. It's still cool to think about like that, what his family's doing and stuff. So
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the. There's been so many great wrestling families, the Von Erichs, you
Right.
know, and all that. But yeah, definitely the Ortons, man.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, so anyway, check out the hot ones especially if you're into the sauces and stuff. There's but I'm kind of with you. You kind of said that dish and like for me, locally, we have a Broadway Oyster Bar is one of my favorite spots for live music 7 days a week when they can, but the food's just awesome, just Cajun and Creole cooking and
Yeah.
and but I'm like they have a dish down there. It's this crawfish enchiladas, and it comes with jambalaya on the side, and it's like I don't know. I'm just like ruined because every time I go there, that's what I want to get. Like I know everything else is good too, but it's like that dish is so good that I have to get it like every time now. And
That's right, man. You wait all your life sometimes to find something like that, and when you get it, that's when you gotta have it.
Right. Yeah. So, but I'm a big man, like big foodie for sure, man. I enjoy getting to sample some of the different culture and cuisine and everything, and that's what's kind of fun about St. Louis here in the middle of the map, because we have so much so much that we pull from. I mean, there's a lot of different neighborhoods with different community around St. Louis, where there's all these different little pockets of whether it's whatever they're doing, they're bringing their own culture to St. Louis and stuff. So
yeah,
but it's really really cool, man. So I like it here, and there's tons of great music and everything else too. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, I got to get more stuff on the books. Yeah. I know we're playing a private event in September that's actually in St. Louis.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll be able to put some shows on the books in St. Louis as well. And if not, I know we'll be returning at least one time to Gene's in Peevely. So that's just a little bit south, about 20, 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have to meet up with you and check some of the food, get some good eats.
Oh yeah, man. I would love that, man. That'd be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, head on over to DallasMoore.com, pre-order the record, The Rain, due out April 9th. But Dallas, this has been super cool, bud. I'm really glad we did this today, man.
Yeah, man, me too. I feel like I keep looking out the window. I feel like singing Elvis Presley in the ghetto. It is coming down in buckets right now. I'm glad I ain't got to go nowhere tonight.
Yeah,
I have a show about an hour north of Cincinnati tomorrow. And hopefully everything will be cleared up to where I can go do that tomorrow. And then we head out on Friday to start the next run. Everywhere we're getting ready to go, I'm hoping it's cleared up, because they're getting pounded like right now down in Texas. It's brutal because they're not used to it, and everybody, Luke and Bach's been closed all week, and the Hunt store, I'm wearing a Hunt store t-shirt right now, but they're all closed down. It's like, what the hell, it's Snowmageddon.
Yeah, well, I know
this will move through by the time we get headed west. Hopefully we'll be all right.
Well, I know here everybody loses their mind and buys out all the milk and eggs and bread and act like they're going to be snowed in for weeks, but
right.
So I'm sure it's a similar thing around everywhere, but people don't know how to handle it, and it's only it'll only be like an inch or something, it's like, but but yeah, man. Well, Dallas, it's been cool, but I really it's been a ton of fun today, and I can't wait to meet you officially in person, and we get to have a beverage and listen to some tunes together. And
all right, I appreciate it, brother.
That'll be fun, man.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, bye, everybody.